Hello, dear students. Let's read the remaining part of the story, The Mysterious Picture. Your Highness, may it please you to remember me and my donkey, Jeff, for just one more minute. Till replied, My donkey has been feeding himself fairly well all along the way on the thorns in the hedges and the grass on the roadside. But I have had nothing to eat for the past 3 days. My stomach has been complaining very loudly. Perhaps your Highness can even hear it now. I have been feeding myself with dreams of good food and drink at your royal table. Your Highness, may it please you to remember me and my donkey. Remember me and my donkey, Jeff. That is the name of the donkey, Jeff. For just one more minute. My donkey has been feeding himself fairly well. My donkey got food, enough food, fairly well, feeding himself fairly well, pretty well. All along the way on the thorns, thorns means fence. In the hedges, hedges means boundary. My donkey has been feeding himself fairly well. It got enough food on the thorns in the hedges and the grass on the roadside. But I have had nothing to eat for the past 3 days. For the past 3 days, I haven't eaten anything. I didn't eat anything. My stomach has been complaining very loudly. Perhaps your Highness can even hear it now. My stomach has been complaining. That means he is very hungry. I have been feeding myself with the dreams of good food and drink at your royal table. I have been feeding myself with the dreams of good food. Dreams, that was in his dream. Dreams of good food and drink at your royal table, from Archduke's table. The Archduke smiled and said, Well, my dear fellow, you will certainly have something more solid than dreams to feed on. But where is your donkey? Archduke smiled and said, What? Well, my dear fellow, you will certainly have something more solid, more hard, not liquid or fluid, more solid than dreams to feed on. You will get so many things from here. But where is your donkey, Jeff? I left him outside, opposite the palace. I shall be most grateful if Jeff is looked after. He needs a little fodder and lodging at night, said Till. I left him outside. I left Jeff outside, opposite the palace. I shall be most grateful. I will be thankful if Jeff is looked after. If Jeff is protected well, I will be thankful to you. He needs a little fodder. Fodder means food. He needs a little food and lodging at night, a place at night, said Till. The Archduke immediately ordered the donkey to be taken care of, and he added, Treat it like one of my own animals. Immediately the Archduke ordered. What was the order? Donkey to be taken care. The donkey should be kept safe. And he added, Treat it like one of my own animals. Before long, supper was served. It was like a wedding feast. The tables were loaded with every kind of food and drink. Wine flowed like water. The courtiers stuffed themselves with the choicest dishes. The Archduke made Till eat and drink until his stomach was about to burst. The Archduke too ate heartily. His face was flushed with drink, but he seemed lost in thought. He suddenly looked up and said loudly, Our court painter must paint our portrait, so that we will have the satisfaction of leaving our memory to our descendants. We too have to take our place in history along with our noble ancestors, whose portraits adorn these walls. It is sad to think of death. We do not know when God will think fit to summon us, but our portrait should be painted. Before long, supper was served. Supper, evening meal, was served, and it was like a wedding feast. From the royal table, like a wedding feast. The tables were loaded with every kind of food and drink, everything they got. Wine flowed like water. Wine was like water. The courtiers filled themselves with the choicest dishes. Everything they got from the royal table. The courtiers. The Archduke made Till eat and drink until his stomach was about to burst. Till also got enough food. Until his stomach was about to burst, break open. The Archduke too ate heartily. Archduke also ate very much heartily. His face was flushed. Flushed means red and hot with a drink. His face was flushed with drink. But he seemed lost in thought. He lost his thoughts. He seemed lost in thought. He suddenly looked up and said loudly. The Archduke too ate very much. His face was flushed with the drink. After drinking too much, he suddenly looked up and said loudly, "Our court painter," who is the court painter? Till. "Our court painter must paint our portrait." Portrait means a painting. Our court painter Till must paint our painting, so that we will have the satisfaction of leaving our memory to our descendants. Descendants means successor. We too have to take our place in history, along with our noble ancestors, forefathers, whose portraits adorn these walls. Our court painter must paint our portrait. It is sad to think of death. We don't know which day we will die. We do not know when God will think fit to summon us. We do not know which day God will call us. Summon means call for. God will think fit to summon us, but our portrait should be painted. That was the command from the Archduke. Till quickly replied, "Your Lordship's slightest wish is to me command. All the same, I do feel rather unhappy about painting your Lordship all by yourself. It is not terrible to think of your Lordship being lonely forever and ever? Don't you think, ladies and gentlemen, that His Highness should be accompanied at least by Her Highness, her ladies, the noble generals and captains who adorn this court? A court like this has few rivals in splendor, loveliness, and chivalry. In the midst of such valor and beauty, I will make my lord and lady shine forth like the moon surrounded by lanterns." Till quickly replied, "Your Lordship's slightest wish is to me command. You need to command, we are ready to obey. All the same, I do feel rather unhappy about painting your Lordship all by yourself. Not only your painting, all others should be there." That he is telling. It is not terrible to think of your Lordship being lonely forever and ever. Being lonely forever and ever. It is not terrible to think of your Lordship being lonely. Don't you think, ladies and gentlemen? Why don't you think like this, ladies and gentlemen, that His Highness should be accompanied, followed at least by Her Highness, Duchess, Archduke and the Duchess, her ladies, noble generals and captains who adorn this court? Why don't you think like this? Noble generals, captains who adorn, who decorate this court? Why can't you think about that? A court like this has few rivals in splendor. Rivals, enemy. Splendor, beauty. Loveliness and chivalry. Politeness, polite. In the midst of such valor, bravery, and beauty, I'll make my lord and lady shine forth like the moon surrounded by lanterns. In the middle, you will be there. Lord and lady, Archduke and the Duchess. You will shine forth like the moon surrounded by lanterns. Okay. Lanterns means lamp or light. The Archduke thought that it was a good idea. In the middle, Duke and the Duchess and all of these surrounded. The Archduke thought that it was a good idea. "Well, my dear friend, your painting will be a great piece of art. What reward do you expect for it?" 100 pieces of gold. You can pay me now or later, just as you please." "Here are the 100 pieces of gold in advance," said the Archduke, giving him the gold. "My lord, you are the most generous of masters. You have filled my lamp with oil. It will forever burn in your honor." Archduke thought it was a good idea. In the middle, Archduke and the Duchess and all others surrounded. Well, my dear friend, your painting will be a great piece of art. And what reward you expect? What reward you need for it? 100 pieces of gold, Till said. 100 pieces of gold. You can pay me now. Now you can pay or later. That is your wish, as you please. Here are the 100 pieces of gold in advance. In advance, Till got 100 pieces of gold. So they are still giving him the gold, 100 pieces of gold. Before doing the portrait, he got 100 pieces of gold in advance. My lord, you are the most generous of masters. You are so liberal, lavish. You have filled my lamp with oil. You have filled my lamp with oil. You have the resources. You have the energy and readiness to face challenges. You have filled my lamp with oil. That is the meaning. It will forever burn in your honor. The next day, Till asked the Archduke to allow him to see all the courtiers who were to be painted along with him. They came and saw him one by one. The first to come was the commander-in-chief of the army. He was a short, fat, bald man with an enormous paunch. He whispered in Till's ear, "When you paint my picture, remember you are to make me look handsome. If you do not make my stomach look flat, I will have you hanged. Remember, I was once a very handsome soldier." Next day, Till asked the Archduke to allow him to see all the courtiers. Till needs to see all the courtiers who were to be painted, who all should be there in the painting, the portrait, who were to be painted along with him, along with the Archduke. They came and saw him one by one. One by one, they came to see Till. The first to come was the commander-in-chief of the army. First who came? The commander-in-chief of the army. He was a short, fat, bald man, hairless man, with an enormous paunch, huge paunch. Bald man with an enormous paunch, large belly, paunch, enormous paunch. He whispered in Till's ear. He spoke softly. Till's ear. "When you paint my picture," who is telling this? Commander-in-chief. "When you paint my picture, remember you are to make me look handsome. My painting should look handsome. Remember you are to make me look handsome. If you do not make my stomach look flat." Actually, he has got a large belly, huge, enormous paunch. "If you do not make my stomach look flat, I will have you hanged. I will kill you. Remember, I was once a very handsome soldier." Who said all these dialogues? Commander-in-chief. An elderly lady came next. She had a large hump on her back. "Sir Painter," she said softly, "make me look young and beautiful. If you don't remove the hump on my back and supply what I lack in beauty, I will have you torn to pieces." A young lady who was the companion of the Duchess came in as soon as the old lady left. She was young and pretty, but had lost 3 of her front teeth in an accident. She warned Till that if in her picture she didn't see herself smiling, with a perfect set of pearly teeth, she would have him cut into small bits by her lover. She pointed to the captain of the guards. One by one, characters are coming. The elderly lady came next. Next, who came? Elderly lady. What she said? What is her problem? She had a large hump, projection or growth, like camel's back. She had a large hump on her back. "Sir Painter," she said softly, "make me look young and beautiful. Elderly lady is telling, you should make me look young and beautiful. Actually, I am an elderly lady, but when you paint, I should be young and beautiful. If you don't remove the hump on my back and supply what I lack in beauty, I will have you torn to pieces. I will cut you into pieces. A young lady. Next character. A young lady came who was the companion of the Duchess, friend of the Duchess. Duchess means wife of a duke. Duchess came in as soon as the old lady left. Elderly lady left. Now came a young lady. She was young and pretty, but had lost three of her front teeth in an accident. In an accident, she lost front teeth, three of her front teeth. She warned Till that if in her picture she didn't see her as a smiling picture with a perfect set of pearly teeth. Pearly means resembling a pearl in color. Pearly teeth. Smiling face should be there. And perfect set of pearly teeth, that also should be there. She would have him cut into small bits by her lover. If you don't do this, you will be killed by her lover. She pointed to the captain of the guards. Lover. Similar requests and threats continued until he had finished with the last of the courtiers. Then the Archduke sent for him and said, my dear fellow, I want your portrait to be perfect in every detail. You are to paint all my courtiers exactly as we see them. If you leave out a mole, a pimple, or a single grey hair, I'll have you slaughtered like a pig. Similar requests and threats, warnings continued until he had finished with the last of the courtiers. All the courtiers came to see Till. Then the Archduke sent for him and said, at last Archduke is telling something. My dear fellow, I want your portrait to be perfect in every detail. Your portrait should be a perfect one. You are to paint all my courtiers exactly as we see them. You have to paint all my courtiers exactly as we see them. It should be a perfect one. If you leave out a mole, a mark, a pimple, small, hard, inflamed spot on the skin, pimple, or a single grey hair, it should be a perfect one. Even the mole, pimple, or a single grey hair, I will have you slaughtered like a pig. If you don't do all these things, it should be a perfect one. If you don't do like this, I will kill you like a pig. That is the order from the Archduke. Let's look at the questions. Where do the events narrated in the story take place? In the palace of the Archduke of Battenberg. What do you understand about the character of Till? Is he a serious man or one with a sense of humor? How do you know this? Till is a person who wanders from court to court. He is a man with a good sense of humor. His appearance and mannerisms make us think so. Is there a change in the attitude of the captain? What is the reason behind it? Yes, because he understood that Till was a Flemish painter. The language used by Till when he speaks to the Archduke shows his respect for him. Pick out a few instances which show this. May your highness pardon me. I might lay it at your noble feet. What does Till wish to become? The court painter. Do you think Till and his donkey are hungry? Give reasons for your answer. The donkey was not hungry as it was fed fairly well all along the way, but Till had nothing to eat for the last 3 days. What does the Archduke want Till to do? The Archduke wants Till to paint his portrait so as to leave his memory to his descendants. What does the sentence, we do not know when God will think fit to summon us mean? We do not know when we will die. Why does Till feel unhappy? Because The Archduke asked him to paint him alone with the courtiers in the portrait, who are compared to the moon and the lanterns. The Lord and the Lady are compared to the moon. The courtiers are compared to the lanterns. What are the demands of the Archduke and the courtiers in painting the pictures? The Archduke demanded Till to paint all the courtiers as such, but the courtiers demanded that he should make them more attractive than they actually were.